today's presentation, which is all about measures. So what do you think we measure in digital marketing? So just in general, what do you think we actually measure in digital marketing? When you think about it, what do you think about? So I want to just help you get your mind there. So what we actually measure in digital marketing are a few different things, and I'm going to focus on these four things today for you. Website effectiveness, your social media activity effectiveness, your e-newsletter, which is email marketing effectiveness, and just plain old ranking. And I actually have ranking right after social media, and I end with newsletter because I'm going to remind you that next week is the newsletter webinar. So those are the things we're going to talk about today at a very high level. You're going to be able to at least know what you need to know by the end of this webinar on measures. So why are even measures important? Why do we care? I was telling to Susie, as she was the first one on the call today, that normally measures is actually one of the most important things, but one of the least attended webinars or workshops that I do. It's not as sexy as Instagram marketing or as email marketing or as creating your strategy, but it's really important. So once you have your goals that we create in your strategy session, then what you want to be able to do is know if you are achieving your goals by understanding which measures you can actually look at and which measures there are that are important to you growing your business. So they help. So why are measures important was my question. They help you determine which online channels you should use by knowing which ones are converting to clients. So which ones, simply put, are effective? How much effort do you need to put into something in order for your goals to be achieved? That's why measures are important. You could be out there just doing all sorts of stuff, but you're not meeting your business goals, so they're not effective. It's really all about helping you meet your business goals. So the benefits to measuring is that you will efficiently use your budget. If you're not measuring, you might just be throwing money away. But once you start measuring, you'll know, okay, this kind of post on this platform is actually getting me clients. Or when I actually spend some time in sending out a newsletter, I actually get clients. So you're able to now budget your time and your dollars more effectively when you look at your measures. You can choose the right channels for the right audience. You might end up seeing that some activity works on Instagram phenomenally, but not on Facebook, whereas other activity works on Facebook and not on your newsletter. So you're able to determine which channel works the best, and that's so important. And it helps you just continuously improve your return on your dollars and your own time. That's what the benefits to measures are. So, as I said, we're going to be looking at measures on your website, measures on social media, how you determine ranking, and measures on your e-newsletter. Okay, so those are the places we're going to be looking at today. So what do you think you measure on your website? So let's see, what do you measure on your website? So one of the things you measure, this might be kind of tiny, I'm going to make it a little bigger for you. One of the things that you measure on your website, there you go, zooming, is first of all, how are they finding your website? Is it through Google? Is it direct? Is it through the Chamber's online directory? How are they finding your website? And then, so which other sites are generating the most referrals to your site? So you can figure that out. So which other sites? So that's what the first thing I look at every month. I look at for my clients, which sites, is it social media? Is it if they're putting out an examiner ad on their online media? Is it the examiner? Is it the Google listing? Is it like the Chamber listings? Where are the links to my sites coming from? So that's one of the things I measure, and that helps me determine if I want to spend more activity and more time in putting my links elsewhere. The other thing I look at Okay, if it hasn't been referred to by another site, then that means I'm being found organically or directly. Organically means they've put in a keyword, and which keywords have they used to find my site. So those are the two things. If you do nothing else and you just look at those two things, and you can find the best keyword, that when they use this keyword, they find my site. And when they're on my site, I can now track what they do, and I can see they're the ones that buy. Then you just want to make sure that you're using that keyword on your social posts. When you're doing a Google listing post, make sure that you keep on using that keyword in your website. If you create a blog, you might want to use that key. You definitely want to use those keywords. Topics around that keyword then become significant. I was looking through my website to see what pages are landed on the most. Much to my surprise, a blog I created in 2015 about how to uh, tag your photo with up to 10 other handles is being looked at on my website over 100 times a day still. And I wrote it 10 years ago. So I was shocked, because I mean, I'm always looking at my clients' websites to see what's working, what keywords. I hadn't looked at my own, but I thought I better only show my website results versus my clients for today's workshop. So that tells me I am going to create more blogs on my site that have to do with the topic that's bringing them in. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you can figure out, okay, which sites are generating more leads to my site, and which keywords are generating more leads to my site, you're awesome. Then another thing you can measure from your site are what actions have they taken on your site. Have they called me? So do you have a contact us now? So if you have a contact us now on your website, are they actually clicking on it? So are they calling you from your website? If you have a live messenger on your website, are they actually using that? So what are they doing on your site? Did they actually email you from your website? So you can measure those too. So you can measure how they found your site, which referring websites, that's number one, and which keywords they found it directly on, that's number two. And then what did they do on your site? Did they do the things you want them to do? And then what pages did they visit on your website? That's another thing. I always like to know what pages they visited, and then when do I lose them? When do I completely lose them? Which pages do they visit? The number of pages views per visit, that's something you might want to increase. How long they stay on your site, that's something we're always trying to increase, is how long they stay on someone's site. What pages generate sale? So you might have a different buy now button or a different e-commerce presentation on different pages on your site. So you'll be able to tell which pages generate sales. You might have some pages that no one ever goes to, doesn't generate any sales. So you want to just know that maybe you need to tweak it, or maybe you get rid of those pages. So you get to know that. And then what are they buying on your site? What is it that they're actually buying? So that is something that's important. You're going to want to know what they're buying on your site. And then if you are paying for advertising, much of what I do is organic. I don't pay for being found on Google because I like using Google listings, as you know. I don't pay for getting found on different directories because I like for you to be found organically. However, if you do use a pay per ad or pay per click on Facebook or on Google, then you want to know how many times they've paid for it, they've clicked on it, and how much have you sold. So if you're paying $100 a day for a pay per something, whether it's on Google or whether it's on a local online distributor like Kawartha Now or Metroland or whichever one of the platforms out there, if you're paying to be found on there, how much is that costing compared to how much you're making? So these are what measures help you do. They help you realize, wow, I really like being on there. I'm only paying $100 a month, and I'm getting a lot of reach, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without doing that. So that's the kind of stuff. So let me just make this a little smaller for you. So how do you get these website measures? So, okay, I've talked to you about some of the measures you want to do. So how do you get these measures? Magically, telepathically know them. So how I suggest, there's a couple different ways that you're going to get these measures. Number one is, most of the time they're built into your website. So I use Wix for many of my clients. It's built in right into the website. For other clients, I use WordPress. It's built into the website. So your website tool that's built your website for you has analytics built in. Just like if you remember Facebook, when we did the Facebook webinar, those of you that were with me, you saw that Facebook had analytics built in. So often the website itself can see where the incoming traffic's coming from. That's one of the things we needed to know. It can see which keyword people used so that they can now you can determine what's effective. The website can definitely see what page they arrived on. The website can definitely see what they did on different pages. So your website often has, and it's improved dramatically, what most websites will allow you to see. So if you go back 2 slides, you see the kind of things you want to know. And like I said, the top 2 things that I believe are important are, how are they finding your site? Is it through keyword, or is it through referring sites? So that you can, if it is through a couple of referring sites and it's always coming from your Google listing, for example, which is what I'm finding on many of my clients, then I'm going to spend more time on my Google listing feeding my site. See what I mean? So, and the other tool that I find very useful is Google Analytics. So the one that's built into your site is free once you have your website, and the Google Analytics, as you know, is also a free tool. So those 2 tools, and I'm going to show you both at a high level right now. So this is built into your site. This happens to be from, I believe this one is from Wix. So it shows you on the time of day. So it knows what time it is when people come to your website, and it knows what time of day they're on your site. So I really like this tool because it's telling me how long they've been on your site, the unique visitors on your site, and the time of day that they're actually on your site. So I can tell what time of day, I can tell what date. So I see all of these peaks. So I go back in time and I look, what did I do on that peak that caused all that traffic? And so you're able to then relate the return on the investment, because I know exactly what those were. They were Facebook posts that I boosted that linked back to my website in this case. So I know exactly what this was for this particular client. So you're able to see, okay, I got this kind of return on investment. And what's really cool is you'll see there's a darker line and a lighter line. What the website has done is it's looking over the last 90 days, comparing it to last year's 90 days. So I get to see comparison to last year. Maybe there's something I did last year that I forgot to do this year. I'm able to go and see a peak from last year and go, wow, maybe I should go and see what that was. So that's really important. Again, I think I've mentioned it to you before. Once a month, I like to take a step back and look at my reports for each of my clients. So that's something I suggest you might want to do, is once a month, look at your reports. And sometimes we get too busy with all our clients, so I end up doing it once a quarter for sure. If you don't, then you kind of miss the opportunity. You may forget what the heck you did. Why did that peak that day? So here's another one that's built into the website. Let me increase this a little bit for you. So this is where I was saying it's important to know where your website, where your traffic is coming from. So this is showing it's coming from Google, Direct. Direct is where they already know your website. So sophieandreo.com. So they already know the website. It's not coming from Google. They haven't gone to Google and done a search and clicked on it. Direct is when they already know the website. And then the next one is Facebook in this case, and Bing still keeps on coming up. So that's interesting. I do nothing on Bing. I don't even know how to find Bing. Okay, don't tell anyone that. And so then this one shows you, it knows by the IP address of the incoming traffic what the if it's a new visitor or an existing visitor. So you're looking, or a new visitor or a returning visitor. So that's kind of cool. So you can look at that and say, wow, I'm getting a lot of new visitors and some returning visitors. So if you're the kind of product that it might take a while for them to make up their decision if they want to buy you or not, you're going to want returning visitors and new visitors. If you're the type of product that they buy it once and they're probably not going to need it again, then you're probably looking more at new visitors. So you kind of look at that and decide, how is it I'm getting recurring visitors? And I know in this case, what we often do is we often end up doing Facebook posts to those people that already like their page and their friends in a specific geographic area. So I'm going to be getting a lot of return visitors. So that makes sense. So this one is one thing I kind of like, and this is also built in to most of the websites. And it's called a heat map. It's called a heat map. So the heat map tells you exactly what time they're on your website. Now, why this is important, I have a lot of clients that have e-commerce built into their websites. So they know then that they're going to have live people on their site answering questions through the instant chat feature. So when the links are the darkest. So it looks like 2 p.m. is a pretty good time on a Thursday. That's the darkest time in a good way. And then 8 a.m. on a Sunday, 11 a.m. on a Sunday. So it's very interesting when you look at the heat maps that 9 and 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock on a Sunday night are the most busiest on this specific site. And this is a site that has a lot of e-commerce on it. So it's very interesting to see that for yourself. If you're going to engage in, I want to do some live chats on my site, so I'm supporting people, but I'm not going to be there all the time. Look at the heat map, and that helps you decide when you want to be online. So this one is again built into the website. And sorry, I apologize. This one is Google Analytics. This one is definitely Google Analytics, and it is one of my favorite things on Google Analytics. I'm going to show you in a moment, but this is when you first log into Google Analytics. It is showing you a chart that tells you if your traffic is coming in organically, from social media in this case, direct, or referring from other sites. So this happens to be a site that doesn't have e-commerce. We don't really use a number of other sites to, we use a lot of social media. I do a lot of work for them on their Google listing. So they do come up organically. Their SEO is really good, and we're going to talk to you about their SEO in a bit. So this is just hovering over a specific day, showing where that, and you can see that on your Google Analytics. You can see exactly where is my traffic coming from. Now, if you're wondering about any of these, you end up clicking on it and it drills down until you can see, okay, that piece of traffic from social, which exact social platform did it come from? You can see exactly what pages they went to, and you can see exactly what they did on those pages. So one of the terms you'll hear for Google Analytics is bounce rate. So if someone comes to the site and bounces right away, and that's all they do from a particular platform, that even though they're coming to your site, you're not getting the activity you wanted. You wanted them to actually buy something or look at your information. But if they're bouncing within a few seconds, you're going to end up being, you're going to see that it's a bounce. So I always look at these, and then I look to see which of these, and combined with the lowest bounce rate, is working for whichever client I'm working on at that time. So that's one of the things that you can see. This one shows you from the back end of Google Analytics or the website. They both have these kind of results. And these results are what pages do people go to. So in my case, they go to the digital marketing courses the most. When you see these results, you'll always see one that just has a forward slash. That's your home page. That's your home page. That's your landing page. So sophindrao.com, that's that page. So that, and then you can see this is that one that I did in 2015. Your 140 characters. I mean, it's so old. You get 280 characters now, but anyways, that one is still being searched for, and people are visiting it the most. So I'm not so it's very interesting. But anyways, so you can see what people are, why, how they're getting to when they come to your site. Where do they land? Where are they landing? So I know with my digital marketing courses, I have that out there in my newsletters. I have that out there in my posts. So that's why they're going right to that page. Otherwise, they're going to my home page. Otherwise, they're going to this random post that I did back in 2015, which surprised me when I looked at that. So it's good to look at these once in a while. So now I'm back into Google Analytics, and Google Analytics has this course built into it that's very, very powerful. And so when you first log into your Google Analytics, there's this menu system on the left side. So on that menu system, I like to click on Overview, and it shows me that chart I just showed you up here with where everybody is coming from onto your site. So you're clicking on Home, and you're seeing where everybody is coming from. Then when you end up going onto the side here, these are all these different reports you can see. And each one opens up into more information. So what's nice about this is you can make these reports be sent to you on a monthly basis in case you forget to go in. So that's what I do with my clients, is I have these reports sent to them automatically on a monthly basis, sent to them and myself. So it kind of reminds me to look at them, because otherwise you're going to forget. So you go through those and you look at, wow, this report's interesting. So then you're able to go in and make that report happen and come to you as you like. So if I click on real time, I can see overview, I can see traffic sources, where, is it Facebook or whatnot. I can see on audience, I can see overviews, active users, meaning are there people on my site right away, lifetime value, but I can also see demographics. I can see where they're from, how old they are, their interests, where they're located, their behaviors. There's so much you can see. You can also see, let's just go back to this acquisition. For me, I like acquisition the best because I really want to know where they're coming from. I want to know the activity I've been doing and how effective it has been, because I'm accountable for all their digital marketing and for their newspaper and their radio. So I know if I have a radio ad going right now and I have their website as one of the elements they're hearing in the radio ad, I should expect a peak from that marketing effort on the radio. So this is why I want to know where that acquisition is coming from. If I have Google Ads out there, I can click on this and see how effective my ads are. So everything is in one place. Okay, so this to me is my favorite thing. It's the flow. On the side here, you've got behavior and you've got behavior flow. As many of you know, my background is I'm an engineer, and I've got a master's in information systems. And information systems is all about the flow of communications between people within your organization. And I think that's why I find this so interesting, because it's the way they think. Where have they come in, and then where have they gone once they've hit this location? Where do they go, and then where do they exit my site? So you get to put yourself in the minds of those people that are coming to your website. So that's what was interesting, where so many of them are still coming to that one post and then exiting. So I need to see what that post's all about and make sure that there's a way for them to get back into my website. So that's kind of cool. So this to me, if I'm going to go into my Google Analytics, I'm going to go and see where my acquisitions are coming from, so which websites are most effective. Then I'm going to go down into behaviors, and I'm going to go into behavior flow. That's those two things I look at with my Google Analytics to make it simpler for you or for me. So this is another thing in your Google Analytics that you're able to look at. You can look at the behavior flow, but you can drill down and click on landing pages and see the number of people, and this is where you're able to see the bounce. So that 2015 that 2015 old post, there's a high bounce rate. I can imagine there would be because it must be so old. I can't even imagine the graphics I was using. So you can see your bounce rate here, and your desired outcome is to lower your bounce rate. And I think that's probably all I want to show you with Google Analytics. I'm going to show you what the Google Analytics code is about. I don't need to show you that. So let's just now share with you how do you create your Google Analytics, and then I'm going to move into oh yeah, that's right, we started a half an hour late. I go, how is it we're done already? So we started at 1:30. So how to create your Google Analytics account. Many of you may have done so already, so I apologize if it's a repeat. But you want to just go to google.com Analytics. But before you go there, think about which Gmail account you're going to use for your Google Analytics. So think about that. What I suggest you do is use the same Google account that you're going to use to create your Google listing, which should be the same one that you've used to create your YouTube channel, which should be, so I always have my clients create one Gmail account that runs their entire business. And then that should also run their Google Analytics. If they're going to do Google Ads, it'll run their Google Ads, and it also runs their YouTube account and that kind of stuff. So that way it's nice and it's all one versus having to go to 50 of them. So your Google Analytics, go to googleanalytics.com, do one of the, and then you're going to end up either, if you already have an account, you're going to click into it, but if you don't, you just start an account for free because it is free. And then you're going to set up your properties. But really all you need to do is once you've set up the account, it's automatically going to give you a code. And the code is a UA-7-digit code -1. And that code is what your website is hungry for. As soon as you put that into your website, there's a place in your website that will say enter Google Analytics code. It's looking for that code. When you enter that code, it takes around 48 hours. And then it automatically populates all those reports I just showed you for free. So that's what you're looking for, is getting that set up. Okay. So next one is, why are Google listings important? We are still under Google, but it's Google listings. So I think there's a question. I'm just going to go look at the questions. So hello all. The class is in the new year at 1:30. Yes, they are. And I have two businesses under one umbrella. Yes, you can still use one Gmail account, but it really depends on the business. I have one Gmail account, for example, that manages all of a number of. So if you're going to have two different YouTube accounts, and I think you probably want to, and two different Google listing accounts, and two different you might have one that's main because you can end up being the owner, but I think you should have one account per business, but you can then assign one as the main one for each business. But then if you don't want to log into two places, you can become admin, make the other Google account the admin for it. So you're only assigning, travel and weddings. I would definitely have two, Darcel. And then I would simply, what I do is for all my accounts, what they do, so knock on wood or Chesler shoes, they've made me admin on their Google account. So I am not the owner, I'm just a manager. So I would do, if I was you, two owner Gmail accounts for those businesses. But if you only want to log into one, then just make sure that one is associated with the other. Ruby, hey, no. One is associated with the other so you can log in. It makes it simpler. But I think you probably should have two. So why are Google listings important? You guys remember that? If you were part of the Google listing course that we had, you'll definitely remember that. Let me get rid of this and bring you back up. There we go. So why are Google listings important? Well, they're important for so many reasons. They help your business get found, help you manage your reputation. They're free. They help your business search results be above the fold, and they help your voice search results. So we know all that. And as a sneak preview to the 2021 trends that we're going to be doing, you're going to find that Google listing is one of the 9 important trends for 2021. It's really, really important still in 2021. So I encourage you to really, really manage your Google listing properly. But why am I bringing that up with measures? We all know what the Google listing looks like, because in the elements of the Google listing, there were 2 elements that had measures to them. And that's what I'm just going to remind you of today. So what were they? Reviews. So people are going to look at the number on your review. It's going to be 1 out of 5, 5 being the highest. So that's one way that people are going to rank you as a business, rank your reputation. So that's a measure we look at all the time. Every single company I work with looks at their measure by the on their reviews on Google. So one of the things you really want to do, if you recall, in our Google listing webinar, is get your Google listing link, send that out when you have a great relationship with someone, and ask them to leave you a review. It's so important. It really, really is so important. Why else is that important? People look at that, but also Google looks at that and sees if there are 2 businesses that are similar, but one has a higher Google listing review rated than the other, it's going to put first that one that has a higher Google review. So that's another reason it's so important. It affects what people think of you, but it also affects your search engine results. So you want to remember that. Then the other thing, the other element on your Google listing was the insights. And I'm going to share that with you in a moment. So the insights are important. So I'm not going to get into this too much because I'm going to run out of time, but don't forget that in tips for dealing with your reviews is to always be personal. Keep the negative reviews reply to but short, reply longer to the positive reviews. Why is that? Because Google will rank them in order of that one that you've spent the most time with when it's presenting them. So if you spend a lot of time with a negative one and no time with a positive one, it's always going to present that negative one first. Can you remove negative ones? Do you remember if you can remove negative ones? Yes or no? The answer is no, but you can flag them. So what you want to do is you can go in, if there's a negative one that's bullying, or it has nothing to do with your business, or they're being rude to one of your staff or yourself, you can go in right next to the review, click on the dots and flag it as inappropriate. And I've actually done that with my clients and they've been removed within 48 hours. But you can't remove them yourself. You cannot suppress them. But you should, if you do have some negative ones, quickly go out there and try and get some positive ones so that your ranking goes up. Okay, so those are just so now the insights on the Google listing. You go to your Google listing, you've claimed it, you know which Gmail account now manages it, and you click on insights. What comes up first are the keywords people use to find you. So, or keywords that Google used to make you found. That's probably more correct. It just sounds weird. So what keywords were used that you actually appeared, your Google listing appeared? So that's the first thing that comes up. And so what happens is if it's the wrong keywords or they're missing something, you need to know that your action will be to post more with the keywords you would like to appear. So once a week, I don't know if any of you remember the story I shared with you. During COVID, there was a couple of my clients that we dialed it down as far as the digital marketing work that we were doing for them. And then what ended up happening was that they weren't coming up in Google at all. until we started doing their Google listings again. So as soon as you do the Google listings once a week and you strategically think of what keywords am I using in my posts, you will come up for those keywords. And you've got to be consistent. You've got to do it once a week. So your Google listing, again, in your insights, it'll show you how businesses search for you, meaning is it when you come up on a Google listing, is it direct? Is it by brand? Some of you might sell, Sony TVs, so that's what by brand means. Or is it discovery, meaning your keywords? So which way are they looking for you? Which way are you appearing on your Google listings? So that's one of the insights that it'll tell you. It'll also tell you once they get to your how do you appear? Is it on the listing or is it on the map? So it'll tell you which way you're appearing. It'll also tell you what they do when you appear. So when you appear, are they visiting your website? Are they requesting directions or are they calling you? So that's good to know as well. What are they actually doing when your listing appears? So that's incredibly insightful. So what do you measure on social? So I'm not going to go into every platform and share with you the insights because they're similar across the board. They're a little different, obviously, but one would be tweets versus posts, but they're very similar across the board. So what do you measure on social, do you think? Well, what you measure on social is, first of all, how many people follow your social media platform. So if you are a local business, you're going to have a percentage of the local population. One of the things if you are a local business and you're not going to do business in California, for example, or out west, then you don't really want followers from California or out west. So how many appropriate people or people that might actually be your clients are following your social media account? Engagement rates, how engaging are your posts? Do you put a post out there and are they actually engaged with them? Are they being liked, commented on? The number of views your videos have and how long they've been viewed for. And again, all of these stats are available on every single platform. Geographically spread, where are your viewers from, as I was saying? So you might find out how many people follow you, but you also want to know where they're from. That's important. And then share a voice. There are tools that I use that allow you to see these elements. And some of these tools you have to pay for. The one is called analytics. I have the link up later on, but I have a couple of tools that I use that actually help me understand how I am compared to how my clients are compared to their competitors on social and what the sentiments are compared to their competitors. So there are some elements. Most of the people I know on social look at the first 5, and those that start getting a little bit larger will look at the bottom 2. You can actually do the bottom 2 on your own through Hootsuite or through Sprout Social by looking for your brand in negative search results. So that's a little bit more advanced that I probably won't get into today. So what to measure on Facebook and specifically is insights, the number of people that like your page, how many people see your posts, how many people engage with your posts, and when is your audience online, like what time are they online, and how many visits do you have to your actual page. So this is something many of you have seen before. When you go onto your social media, each of them have a place that you go to find your analytics. So in Facebook, they're called insights. So you go to your insights, and the one that I like the most has consistently been going to see your posts. I like going to see the posts because I like analyzing every post and seeing which posts had the most engagement, and I'm looking at that on my Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Which ones have the most engagement? Because that's the kind of post I want to do more of. The more engagement you have, as you know, the more trust you get, the more sales you're going to get. So I might have a lot of engagement on this one. This one was bring it home for the holidays for one of my clients, and it's a floor model sale they have going on. So I have all the right keywords in there. I indicate that it's furniture, for example, and I indicate the dates of the sale. So I want to make sure that I'm saying the right things and I'm getting the right engagement. So that's critical to look at and how to repeat that activity. If you're looking at boosts, what you'll see over here, view promotion, in those two cases, they're on Facebook and they happen to be posts that were doing well that I boosted. And that's a rule of thumb is you look at your past posts, and if there's something that is got great engagement and it's timeless, meaning it's something that's talking about something you're always selling or you're always doing versus something that's past, like a sale that's already finished for Black Friday, you can go in and decide, this one's done really well. I'm going to boost that one because I know it's a timeless post, and on its own, it's getting 100 engagement without any boosting. So maybe I'm going to spend $5 and boost that one so I get even more engagement, and I'm going to target it to those people. So this is how if you're going to use your posts on Facebook and your insights rather, and you're going to you want to go to your posts and look at which ones are performing the best so you can repeat that behavior, and then you may want to decide to boost some of those that are performing well. Okay, so this is, what am I showing you here? Whoops, I went the wrong way. So this is also on Facebook, and this is just showing you on Facebook that you're able to see. I went from posts and you scroll down a little bit, and I'm able to see the behavior of videos, behavior of photos, and behavior of shared videos. So I'm sharing someone else's videos here. They didn't do well at all. They did horribly. So when I was sharing brand videos, they didn't do very well. Our own videos did really, really well, and our own photos did well, but sharing others didn't do very well. Another thing you're able to do is, I clicked on posts as I showed you first, but I also like clicking on reach. Again, you can see on reach, I look at it and I decide what did I do on those days that caused some enormous behavior. So in this case, in Facebook, the orange is the paid and the light yellow is the organic reach. So this is something that came from CallRail. I apologize, I don't have the URL up here. This is one of the things we look at with one of my clients. It's where are calls into their location coming from? Because they spend a lot of money on Google Ads. They spend a lot of time where I'm posting on their their Google listing. They have a great website, and then they have a invoice that they electronically send out to their clients that also has a phone number where people can click on it for phoning. And then they also have a website toll-free number, and then they do some examiner ads as well. So you can see here, and it's called what did I say? It was called Phone Rail. You can see here that their Google My Business, which is free, again, they're not paying for it, has the highest number of calls, and it's consistent month over month for the last, I think, year and a half. Google Business has been the highest responsible for calls. So it's really interesting for you to see that, how important that is. So how do you measure ranking? So I've got two things left. It's how do you measure ranking and email marketing, which we're doing next week. So I'm just going to briefly touch on email marketing. So how do you measure ranking? So you're not going to be an expert by the end of this on how you measure ranking, but you do need to know that this is what Google looks at. Google looks at if you have the S, so is your website secured, HTTPS, you're going to be ranked higher. If you don't have the S, it ranks you lower. It's scared of you. Is it accessible? Is it using larger fonts? So that's going to look at that as well. Speed, page speed, whether it's on mobile or whether it's people going to it directly from their desktop, it's going to look at speed. It's also going to look at mobile friendliness. So how mobile friendly is it? It's going to look at the are you a brand new? So are you if you're an older URL, it's higher ranked. Um, and authority, meaning is there a lot of backlinks going to your website? Are there a lot of backlinks from important websites? So you could have a lot of backlinks, but are they important websites, which gives you more authority? And I have a link here. It's called that you can see more information on it. Backlinko.com/SEO checklist. So that's a little link. I'll put that in the text for you guys here so you can have it. That I really liked how he or she. Yes, you want to. How do you get the HTTPS? When you buy your URL, your domain, it gives you the option to upgrade to an HTTPS. So that's all you got to do. I think it's an extra. It's not very much, but it's worth it. So that you actually come up. Good question. Good question, Susie. So, and let's talk about optimizing your content. So, optimizing your content means that every page you look at it and have you optimized the header so it's talking about what's on that page. So you've got keywords in the header. Have you optimized each image so it's actually each image has a keyword in it? Remember, I've mentioned to you before, your images are saved on your phone or on your computer as IMG and then some unique number. Well, that's not how you want to upload it to your website. Before you put it on your website, you want to make sure that you've renamed each of your images with a keyword. So it could be your company name, and then it could be services, or it could be your company name. It could be, moving seniors. It could be your company name. So you want to make sure that whatever people are searching for, that keyword is in the header and on the image before you upload it to your website. And then geocode it. So if you are specifically working in the Peterborough, Kawarthas area, you want to make sure you have that in the footer of your site. That every page it comes up serving the Peterborough area with senior moving services or whatever your keywords are. So if you look at any of the websites that do well, they have on every page, they've indicated what cities they're actually serving. And that makes a big difference if you're to basic SEO. And then there's user experience. It wants to make sure that you have, if you say click here to find out more, they want to know that you're actually using your call to action buttons, and it's really easy for someone to know what to click on. And then links. It's looking at incoming links. The number of incoming links ranks you higher than someone else who doesn't have incoming links. It's also looking at outgoing links. Are you a reference point? So are you someone that they're going to come to your site and that they are going to find reference material? You're linking them elsewhere. So that means Google is finding you more important than someone else. So those are some of the basic SEO principles. They really haven't changed that much over time. And now this one is, I'm going to just show you a couple things, some little tricks. So when you're using Google Analytics, say all of a sudden your ranking is starting to decrease. And oh my goodness, how am I going to know that? So there's a couple alerts you can put in place. So one's on Google, they're both on Google Analytics. One is using Google Analytics. You can just go in and see your organic search results. Month over month, you can see a graph to see if it's increasing or decreasing. So that's one way you can just know how you're doing. And the other way is if things start decreasing, you can put an alert in your Google Analytics as well. So that's one of the things you can do. So if you go to your Google Analytics, you can go into it, go to your Google Analytics, And where you're able to go once you're in your Google Analytics is you're able to go to when you're in your acquisition area, click on channels. This is what comes up. And then at the bottom here is you're able to oh, sorry, this is where you can see month over month your ranking, your organic search results. You can see how you're doing. So month over month, you want to make sure that you're increasing. And then if you want the alert, that's what I was trying to show you. You go to your alert and you can create a new alert. And on your new alert, let me just make this the right size so you can see it. Slideshow from current slide. So where you want to go is when you're on your Google Analytics, you're going to click into View, scroll down to Custom Alerts, and under Custom Alerts, you can indicate declining traffic and fill in this custom alert condition. And it actually gives you different alerts you can create. And when this alert happens, when it's seeing this alert happening real time, it's going to send you an email. So there's different alerts you can ask for, but this is how you can at least get an alert if all of a sudden something's gone on. It could be that you have a broken link on your website and you don't know about it. That's going to cause your SEO to decrease. So it could be that the keywords you're using aren't effective anymore for some reason. It could be that you've stopped doing Google listing posts, because I always do a Google listing post linking it back to my website. So when you look at it, you'll go, oh yeah, I haven't done this or this for a while, and it'll remind you. So this is the link that might help you with creating your Google alerts. It's called monsterinsights.com. And then search for how to measure SEO performance using Google Analytics, and in this case it's in WordPress, but you can also, it's the same because you're using Google Analytics. So there's another tool if you ever wondered to know what you're ranking at your website. There's a tool called serprobot.com. And I can put that in the messenger here as well for you guys afterwards. But this one allows you to put in your URL, indicate a keyword that you want to, it actually lets you put in 3 key phrases. So I put in 3 key phrases: electronics in Peterborough, TVs for sale in Peterborough, stereos in Peterborough. And I ran the search result, and it's free to use. And you can also create an account on here, and there's a charge for it, or it does some other things. You can go in and just see what position are you in. So I see we're in position here, number 1 for this, 5 for that, 3 for this. So that tells me I have a little bit more work to do in one area. I'm doing great in another area. I want to continue. So that's kind of cool to know. I'm going to copy this one for you. So this is that other tool that I've shared with you that I use for my clients. What would be here under competition are 5 competitors I've chosen to compare my client to, or they've chosen. And what it does, it's called agencyanalytics.com. This might be beyond what you want to spend. I spend it because I use it for all my clients, but it tells me the trust flow, number of pages indexed from Google, linking, backlinks. Backlinks are really important, as I mentioned, keywords. So, and it tells me how I'm ranking compared to my competitors. So it may or may not be something you'd be interested in. So finally, in closing, email marketing. What do you want to measure on your email marketing? There's a whole bunch of things, and I'm going to be going over your email marketing best practices next week. As I've said often, email marketing is still one of the most powerful tools we use, whether I'm retail like Kawartha TV and Stereo with their EVP clients. It's still very powerful. Or whether you're someone like myself, business to business, it's very powerful. So there's delivery rates, number of emails delivered. So do I have a good list? Like, what's my bounce rate? So there's that number. But the number I prefer is I send it out to 3,000 people. What percentage open? So I look back at all of the emails. If I'm about to do an email for any of my clients, I look back and I see which one had the highest open rate. I look at that email and I say, okay, how can I repeat the success of that? What did I do different? Was it the subject? Normally it's the subject. I'll be going over that next week, so I better stop talking about that as to what makes a good email. But you can also measure open rate, unique open rates, total clicks, what they clicked on, and I like that. I like to know what they've clicked on. I like to know if they've shared it. I also want to make sure they haven't unsubscribed, but it also tells you an unsubscribe rate. So you can measure certain things. So email marketing systems, there are two that I use for my clients, depending on what they've used in the past. I use Constant Contact and I use MailChimp. I know that there are others, but those are the two that I like to use. Why do I use an email system compared to just blind copying? Blind copying gets caught in email servers. I know there's a lot of membership groups out there that blind copy. I don't get any of those emails because I don't see them. My spam filter puts them in a promotional list. It thinks that I don't really know them. An email, Constant Contact or MailChimp will say, "Hi Susie." It'll personalize it and it sees if Susie's opened it. I can automatically send Susie a reminder if she hasn't opened it, for example. So it's really, really powerful, and we'll be showing you all those kind of tools next week. So the time of measures you get in the back, which I really like, it tells you, okay, if you sent this out at a certain time, it's saying that, it tells you what time you've sent it out and how many people actually opened it. And then it tells you when it stopped getting opened and when it started opening again. But it also tells you which links they've clicked on. And that's important. And then when you click on this, it's going to tell you exactly which of the emails you've sent it to clicked on those. So that is really powerful because then you can see, you can automatically reply to them or you can call them. It really helps you understand who's interested in what you've just sent out. This one I've covered the emails, but this is what I mean. I can go into it and I can click on this and see who's clicked, and I can see exactly which emails and what their names were that clicked on a specific link. So that's really important. And then what I liked about this happens to be from Constant Contact, gives me a heat map. I kind of like heat maps. Heat maps showed me what they've clicked on. So if I have a bunch of different links throughout my email, it's showing me, the heat map shows me what they've clicked on. You can also see that by this, where it tells you at the bottom how many they've clicked on. It tells you the number, but I kind of like maps. So that's it for today.